Thanks everybody for being on the call tonight. I'm really excited about the content we share with you guys. Steven is our personal trainer tonight, and I work now with Steven 2 weeks now, I think, and we got we got a lot of experience. The for the ones who are new on this call, uh, my name is Jack Holman. I'm 50 years old, offline marketing since 2009. I um, I have been in Google AdWords expert and spent more than 1.5 million on Google, and it's growing every day. So that part I really how do you say that, capable to do. Since a couple of months, I use another lead generation method, and that really is kicking in. So with that said, I want to introduce you Steven Duff, and he's going to, actually Steven, you might want to speak a little about yourself, about your background, and then we go into content.
Okay, Jack. Well, my name's Stephen Duff. I started marketing online seriously about 2003. I, uh, I quit a pretty good job and I just went feet in, and hopefully I would have pulled something out. Uh, and luckily, uh, I was able to, I had some proficiency at SEO. So I started doing SEO. I worked for a company for a while, just on the salary basis. And I started pulling just customers of my own by using Craigslist. And since 2003, I have just really pulled customers off Craigslist for SEO and made a full-time living, way more money than I was making as a locomotive engineer, which is a pretty decent job. Uh, and so really, I mean, I've been posting on Craigslist for well over 10 years now, and actually that is my primary source for leads. And about 3 years ago, I would really say 4, but about 3 years ago, I stopped doing SEO as my primary income, and I just started doing offline lead gen. So, and if I made a lot of mistakes, and had to try a bunch of things because there wasn't really anybody out there doing exactly what I was doing and wanted to do. So I kind of had to take what little information was out there and fall down a few times to get a pretty good system together. And that's what I'm here to show you at least part of today, how you can truly just use one method to generate leads and make a really, really good business out of it. Okay, yeah, really $1,000 per day, it's all possible. Sounds like a lot of money, but it really isn't. It just takes a little bit of work to get to, and you have to have a system, a repeatable system, to get there. But once you have your system down, it's just really a rinse and repeat process. Next slide, Jack. Are you there, Jack? Okay. So here's really just the math. I mean, if you can produce 5 leads per day per city and run 10 cities, you'll make $1,000 a day. I mean, I'm just talking straight off Craigslist, not other ways you're getting leads, just talking about Craigslist here. And can you produce 5 leads a day? Absolutely, I do. All the time. I mean, that may not be just one client or one niche, but it's just a method of goal setting. If I set a goal and I'm going to get 5 billable leads, something I'm going to get money for, I master a city first, and at 5, then I'll start thinking about something else. And or you can, maybe you're doing maybe a couple cities, however you want to block it up. But I block it up by 5 leads per city. If I can get 5 leads out of a city at $20, that's generally what I charge. Sometimes 25, sometimes 35, depends on what I'm doing. But I average about $20. That's 50 times 20 every day. That's really where you want to get to. And that's really just the math. I mean, everybody here thinks that they could, pull 5 leads. I mean, it just seems 5 leads isn't really that many phone calls. It really is not.
So anybody have a question about this math? Who think is not able to generate 5 leads per day in a city? So Steven does it only with Craigslist. So I think it's you want, for most, depend on the niche, but for most niches, and if you have a small budget, you can start with Craigslist posting, and depending on how much you get paid by your client, you can add AdWords to it.
Yeah, video SEO, anything else you want to do. But in the next segment, I'm going to talk about why I always start with Craigslist. I mean, I might get a video out there. I might, of course, you're not going to, if you've ever ranked a video, you're not going to get a monster amount of calls off of it. Is it worth doing? Yeah, probably. But so, it doesn't perform as well as Craigslist does.
Mm-hmm. So let's say you are not in a big city. You are only between the 50 and 100,000 people. So in that case, you might want to target 2 different niches in one city. So either you are able to take them from one niche, from one client, or you get those 5 leads per day from 2 niches and 2 clients. But 5 leads is very achievable.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of, how dedicated, how many posts you want to run. And you run the post and as many as you need to until you've maximized the leads for that city in that certain niche. And that's it. If it's too many leads for your client to buy, well, then maybe you're doing plumbers, get another plumber, split the leads. You really are in control of the situation once you have the product to sell.
So does it take special ad copy? Yes, not special, but some ad copy is better than others. So the most important thing is that you frequently post and and that you get on the top, seen because your post is really fresh. The second thing is that some posts works better than other posts. So we typically do 3 posts per client per day, that will get you those results.
Yeah, it'll show you where you stand in the city and the niche, really. I mean, that's really the testing the water. If you're running less than 3, you're not really going to know. And if you pour in, say 12 posts a day, you might be overdoing it.
Correct. And it's a lot of work, 12 posts.
Sure, it is. It's
Yeah.
a whole lot of work.
So with that said, how do you deal with ghosting or blocking? It's all kind of setting special accounts, IP addresses, the way how you post, timing of the day. So there's a lot of comes into the play. Will you not get hosted with 3? It depends on how you post, and you might want to set up different accounts for the same client. So that's
Yeah, and it has a lot to do with the rhythm. Most people think that you don't necessarily want to post every day off the same account, and it really depends. A little trial and error there. If you're posting, don't post every day. Post three ads, let it sit for 48 hours before you touch that account again.
okay.
Cookies, what Craigslist can see is a lot more than what you think they can see. They're just not getting the metadata from your referring agent, such as what kind of device. They read a lot of your cookies, and then they try to compare those cookies to other posts and other accounts, and it's just algorithmic. That's how ghosting happens. Ghosting's algorithmic. Flagging's generally user-based, but Craigslist can auto-flag you also.
So we got a question. Are you talking about a 20-day a month or 30-day a month for the $1,000 per day? If your business is open at 5 days, you might want to post only during the days. If your business is able to receive the leads also in the weekend, you can also post in the weekend. So it depends a little bit on the business, but the posting is actually so cheap that you probably want to post 7 days a week.
Yeah, and look for clients that going to take leads. Like emergency services are great, like emergency plumbers. Those guys are around the clock. Weekends, holidays, they don't care. And they really need a lot of leads because they're charging a premium most of the time for that stuff.
Okay, let me jump to the next slide, if it is all possible. Okay. The method.
Okay, right. This is where most people, they kind of do things backwards. A lot of times when people start out in lead gen, they go get the client first and hope they can get leads. That's really a bad way to do it because it's hard enough to get clients, in a consistent basis. I mean, if you're a good salesman, then it's to me it's easier to sell than SEO ever was. And that's why I kind of went to it. I mean, there's other reasons, but it's a no risk proposition to your client. So they're not out any upfront money. You're not asking them to invest $1,000 a month with you, which you may be asking them with SEO or other offline to online methods. So here's what I always, anybody's just starting, or even maybe they're already into it, but maybe they're floundering a little bit. You choose a niche in the city. Choose something that, the emergency plumber, heating, air conditioning. I mean, these are all the type of people that are easy to sell leads to. Search around the city. see what your competition's like. You know, if there's a lot of ads, that don't mean nothing. That just means that if people are continuously posting ads, that means they're getting calls. So what you want to do is bite off a big piece of that as much as you can. But here's what I found. It's much easier to make the sell if you already have a call volume. If you already have leads that they can see, you can show them call volume, like, because then they want that. They see that it's real. If you just go and say, hey, I can generate leads, well, there's going to be, part of them is skeptical, but you're like, hey, look at all these calls that you're missing every month and your competitor's going to get if you don't buy them from me, because I'm going to sell them to him, or however you structure your sales pitch. I like fear of loss. I like actually fear of competition a lot too. So I would strongly suggest you start out small. So if I go into a new city and a new niche, I want to be damn sure I can get leads before I go try to sell them to somebody. Because if I got a client and I can't get him leads, well, I've wasted everybody's time, especially my own, which I hate doing. You can monetize the leads. That's what I do. They don't convert real well, but it's a place you can send leads. You can go to like Ring Partner. There's just CPA networks that offer a pay-per-call, and they do it for plumbers, they do it for roofers, they do it for HVAC. You just have to look around, go to OfferVault. That's the best place to kind of distill, filter out what everything is. They got a big old pay-per-call button right there. You hit it, tell you the offers that are going on. $8 to $10 a call, not that bad. But as I said, because you got to go through this chunky system of pushing buttons. I mean, you'll make money, but you're not going to make near the money if you get a client. But what it does is it gives you the confidence when making the sell that you can provide what you say you're providing, and it gives them, you can show them something. You can even let them listen to the call. I do that while I offer it. Most people don't take me up on it because they just see the volume and they want it. So yeah, once your call volume gets up, you just sell it to clients. You just go get clients, and then you have X call volume in said city, said niche. You know where if that city's good or not, or how good it is, and then you just get somebody to buy it for $20 a pop, $25 a pop. There's no real math to it. Depends on who you're selling to. It depends on how much you can charge for it. I get that question a lot. I would say as much as you can plus $5. That's what I like to charge. And then, of course, you just rinse and repeat the process. Then choose a new niche, new city. Doesn't necessarily have to be a new city. Doesn't necessarily have to be a new niche. Just change it up. But there's like 438 actual cities that you can post on Craigslist. I mean, that's a lot of different variations. And once you start multiplying about the possible niches you could do, it's almost limitless. Any questions?
Oh yeah, a lot.
Okay, well, shoot them off, Jack. I can't read any questions here.
When I place ads, it's only 3 ads in total per email account. If you post too many at the same day, Craigslist doesn't like that. So you want to be careful. You actually
it's 3 per 48 hours.
Yeah.
That's their rule. So you may want to, you can gauge that. That's why multiple accounts, multiple phone verified accounts, multiple ad variations, to get unique ads. all these things start to become into play. The actual nuts and bolts of running Craigslist and bulk isn't simple. I mean, it's not the easiest thing you'd ever do in your life. Let's just put it that way. But it's so economical. It doesn't matter what rabbit they pull out of their hat. Guaranteed, I'm going to find a way around it and still post, because it's such a huge user base for Craigslist, and they look for exactly what I'm selling.
So the next question is, let's say you get a call from Craigslist, you're able to generate, but don't have a client yet. Where does the call, where does the lead go to?
Well, right, that's what, like, I monetize it with pay-per-call, like a CPA networks, or, go to OfferVault. You can sign up for OfferVault, it's free, and then they'll tell you what CPA companies are offering pay-per-call for that particular niche you're looking for. So if I'm doing HVAC, then all I do is plug in that 800 number. Most of the time it's an 800 number. Sometimes they generate different numbers. And most of the time they're nationwide. And depending on what city they're in, varies how much they're going to pay you per lead. And then you just forward your tracking number to that actual number. And it's a clientless lead gen. Of course, you're going to just make more with a client. That's why you want to, the next step would be to get a client.
Okay, the next question is, Jack, did you guys say that Craigslist creates more or better leads than other lead generation methods like AdWords and YouTube? Please specify. So let me answer that a little bit, because I know the difference. I see pretty good leads with AdWords, and most of the Craigslist leads are good, but there's a little bit difference. You need to pay a lot of attention on the ad to get qualified leads in Craigslist. In AdWords, they are more like they are not so price orientated most of the times. So there is a difference, but there's a big difference, and that is in your regards. Craigslist posting is much more affordable than the clicks in AdWords. So if you just start out, don't have a big client where you can spend money, Craigslist is a good start.
Well, yeah, it's the way to test the waters, really. I mean, I'm not telling anybody don't use AdWords. I mean, if you can get a good ROI out of it, or anything you do, which when you start getting into plumbers, and I mean, it becomes very limited to actual ways you can actually advertise for these guys to pull leads. But what I do know is you have to take the most economical thing you can do, which is Craigslist, and start building your niche there, your niche in that city. So, like say I'm doing Denver plumbers. I would, before I even have a Denver plumber, but I know I could probably tomorrow just make 2-3 phone calls and get one. But I would have nothing to sell them, or at least I wouldn't know that I could sell them something before that. So what you need to do is then run the niche, the city, to see how much call volume you can expect. And then once you start getting some calls, maybe you bump up the amount of posts. And, you got to find the sweet spot. That's really where the experience and experience you need if you're going to do lead gen, where that really comes into play. I mean, you got to know really when just to say enough's enough and let it ride at what it's at, because bumping the ad volume doesn't help at all, and just start a new niche. niche. Same city, maybe a different city. Maybe your guy can go out and talk to somebody, meet them for lunch, or however you're selling your product. That really kind of dictates maybe the city you're going to be in. But it doesn't necessarily mean it dictates the niche. I run nationwide. I don't even run in St. Louis, and that's where I live, because I do everything over the phone.
Okay.
But I could probably sell faster if I would meet people in person.
Yeah, I know.
I just don't like meeting people in person. I mean, that's just... so I kind of try to conform it to what I like to do.
So let us clarify one more time. If I'm able to generate the calls and I don't have a client, so there are two things which you can do. Well, either you send them to Overvolt, which is a CPA network, and you get paid around $8 for each call, which if you generate 5 calls is still $40 a day. So per city, and if you have 10 cities, you make $400 a day. So then the second option is connect those calls with a company who is either doing AdWords or is listed on Home Advisor. So those companies, they are ready to take more clients. They have the process in place, they have a marketing budget, and they are eager looking for calls. So once you generate some calls and you send them via Lead Tracker Jack a nice email with a link to your website which shows that you are the specialist, then you are much easier to convert that business to get them as client. And you can set them as round robin to pick a couple of businesses, and the one you converted gets at the end all the calls.
But that sounds about right. I'm just trying to stress the point that don't sell leads you don't have, or can't easily get, or you're not assured that you can get them, because then, I mean, other than just being a crushing defeat sometimes, when you go in and you got a client and you're like, oh, this is such a great client, and then you can't generate a single lead for them, or not that many, and then you start making you question what you're doing, but it's only because you're doing it backwards. If I go into a city and for some reason I can't pull the call volume I want, I don't care. I just move on. Because I know it works. I'm just trying to filter out what's going to be really good and worth my time and what's not.
So I got a question. How does Facebook ads compare to Craigslist? Okay.
Depends on the niche.
It depends what you think people are looking for a certain service you offer. So if you're looking for a roofer or for an auto repair or so, are people really looking on Facebook to find a company? Probably not. Not yet, at least. Maybe in the future when Facebook is evolving. So I'm nothing. In a year, Facebook is not the same as it is now. But at the moment, Craigslist is the number 11 most visited website for people for looking for products and services. So if you market a certain product or certain service, Craigslist is still a very affordable way to do it.
Sure. I mean, if you're doing a nail salon, maybe you got a client that's a nail salon, yeah, then I'd say Facebook ads probably are going to work. If you're doing an emergency plumber, you're not going to get a single call because nobody's going to Facebook. I mean, they're pipe bust. They're really going on Facebook and seeing what their friends are up to isn't crossing their mind. what they're going to do is either Google it or go straight to Craigslist to find somebody kind of cheaper. But even price point's not a big deal if, you know, getting a client that can work the phone and, you know, talk to the people. I got plenty of clients that sell at full price, just the same that they would charge somebody if it was from AdWords or anywhere else, because, you know, they can do it. Not every client's going to be that way, but here's the great thing about lead generation. They're your leads. You sell them to whomever they're going to work the best for. You're not contracted just to give them to any single guy. If he can't turn them, and he's complaining maybe that, you know, he's paying for something because he's so bad on the phone, or he can't get any, you know, actual anything going, get another guy. It's a business. It's not like, you know, you're out there trying to build his business. All you're doing is providing him with a tool to build his business.
Okay. So let's skip to the next slide.
Yeah. So when you're scouting to acquire new clients, I mean, say we already got our leads going, we need to get a client. There's about 4 things you really need to look for when you go to find places that you can get clients. They have awareness of their need for whatever you're going to sell, which in this case is lead gen. You know, do they need leads? Do they know they need leads? That's why probably going to, you know, people are running AdWords ads, or maybe they're home advisor clients. I mean, these people are already buying leads. That answers the question right there. But if the guy's never bought leads in his life, he might not know he needs them. But most people that's been in business for a while have tried to buy leads. Number 2, the person you're talking to has the authority and the ability to pay for it. That's important. I mean, truthfully, I've gotten a lot of guys that, you know, it's a great idea but when the bill comes due, there's some sob story, or, you know, so I probably pretty much try to get guys that are, you know, established, just not a guy running, you know, a plumber business out of his garage or something. I mean, you know, if they got a couple vans going, a couple plumbers on call, that's the guy you really want. But, you know, maybe you get the guy, you try him out, all you're going to lose is, you know, maybe 10 leads, you know, figuring out if the guy's going to work out for you or not. They'll trust you and or your organization. I mean, I tell this to a lot of people. Don't go out there and purport yourself as something you're not. If you're just a guy who can generate leads, then that's who you need to be, because I get a better response like that than if I go out there and, you know, purport that I'm you know, some, you know, successful internet company that's providing leads. I really think that they respond better to when they can call me up and say, hey, Steve, you know, can you up the leads or something? Yeah, I'm like, yeah. Instead of, oh, hey, you know, this NetLead Pro, you know, could you please hold? I mean, whatever. I mean, you're just like them. You're just a guy trying to run a business. They relate to that more than they would that you're trying to be something that you're not. So you get trust that way. You can build a rapport pretty quickly if you're going to be just a small business guy, just like them. Most of these guys are just them. They are the rainmakers of their business, just like you're going to be. And they're willing to listen to you. I mean, if, you know, the guy's kind of, you know, giving you some screw-off questions that, you know, and he just really doesn't have the time, drop the call. Who cares? There's hundreds of plumbers in any area, or roofers or anything in any given city. Don't waste your time. Any questions?
Yeah. Quack B has a lot of follow-up questions. So I'm guessing the suggested business model is 1. Set up an exact domain website. 2. Promote it on Quacklist. 3. Collect leads and sell them to the appropriate business. I'm right? That's
No.
no. I think
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the exact match domain has anything.
no.
I pull the leads straight off Craigslist. You don't need a website at all. Yeah, the phone number's right there. They either call it or they don't.
I think Quack B is more thinking, how do I get a client? Is that your...
Oh, yeah, well, right. I mean, you can have a website if that's what you're asking.
Quack, is your background about fulfillment, or is it to get, or prospecting to get a client?
I've worn every single hat there is to lead gen. I mean, I used to do this with just me.
Okay.
So I had to be the sales guy, I had to be the fulfillment guy, I had to be everything.
So in regards to fulfillment, you don't need a website, okay? In regards to if you want to be the specialist and you have a couple of calls which you send via the call tracking portal, you want to have in the email with you want to have a link to the website that set you apart as a specialist.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, it just depends on how you're positioning yourself to make the sell. Rarely does anybody ask me to see my website. I mean, it just rarely happens. Now, if I got a pretty good sales funnel, like just say I do, and I want to drive actual lead gen clients from Craigslist, yeah, then it would make perfect sense to do that. I mean, but it's not necessary. You can do this whole business without ever having a website.
If you have a lead gen website, should you put that in your Craigslist ad? Typically,
oh, you mean like if you're driving them to a website that is like for a plumber, or
yeah. So you want to generate calls for let's say.
Absolutely. If you're doing things like remarketing, if you're doing that, I would say do that all day long. But if you're not, then you're adding one more step to the process that doesn't need to be there, and your leads will go down.
So does everybody knows what remarketing is? Type in a yes or no, so I get a little bit of understanding. Okay. Okay, I see a mix from yes and no. So listen, that is very important, okay? What Stephen just shared with you guys is typically you don't send them to the website because there's an other step but you might the caller, you need to convert him again because he was ready to call you, but check out the website and you might lose the customer. But there are servers in place, and actually I provide a service too, that you can have set a cookie for that particular person who landed on your website, and he or she will see all over the internet your company. So it really works good for branding. It really works, because 90% of your website visitors don't take in the first place action. So they see at other places all over the web. Doesn't need to be related to your business. It can be the weather, it can be CNN, it can be every place, it can be your favorite newspaper. Or everywhere on the internet they see the ad, and because once they are really ready to take action, they will click on the ad, come back to your website, and then make the phone call. And the beauty of this system is that The clicks are very cheap. So I know this is kind of advanced way, and I will go in later on more, but I just wanted to make sure you understand what remarketing is. Remarketing will be important part of your marketing in the future. Big companies are using it now, and at our level those tools come more and more available, and it really helps getting it's kind of, you don't waste your click anymore. You just show to the same person over and over again your ad, and he will take action because he's very impressed about that he sees it. And sometimes it takes 5 to 7 contacts that people take action. So I know it's a long answer to the question, but I wanted to make sure that you know what Stephen mentioned. If you do remarketing, you might consider sending from the Craigslist ad to your website, because then you just can set a cookie. If you don't do remarketing, you want to keep it on the website and convert them at the Craigslist ad. So either Rob makes a good point, but there's an advanced strategy. So you don't want to send them back to the website. You want to send them back to another page where you capture the person, or you give him a special offer. So then he's more incentive to to take action. In the first place, he wasn't convinced, but if he comes a second time, you might to give him a special discount. So that is more advanced. There's all variation in it. If you do the 80-20% rule, just send them back to the website. If you are really in business, you can do some other stuff with it. So I just wanted to expand on your answer, Stephen. Sorry for that.
No, that's fine. I mean, yeah, I should have maybe been more explanatory about remarketing. Myself, I mean, but I would defer to your expertise on it with no problems. I'm not the big AdWords guy, but remarketing, it can be powerful if done correctly. And if you need to shoot traffic through your remarketing funnel, yeah, Craigslist would be a great way to do that. They get 68 million visitors a month in the U.S. alone. That's just what the traffic comes from the U.S. That's a monster amount of traffic.
Okay, so with that said, let's go to the next page.
Yeah, this is just kind of how I make a sell. I mean, at least, has anybody ever seen the movie The Tao of Steve, ironically?
I don't see anything in the chat box, so that...
Oh, well, yeah, you guys check it out. It teaches you a lot about human nature. But I kind of broke down The Tao of Steve into how the sales process, because before I seen that movie, which it come out in the year 2000, I was selling before I even, I have sales. I used to sell fire safety equipment way back in the early 90s, and that really was my introduction to sales at all, and I was pretty decent at it. But this is just works for me. But I'll tell you what I do, and if it fits what you do, then by all means use it, because I can sell pretty quick on the phone. I eliminate the need to make it the sell. I don't care if I make the sell or not. That's it. Going into the sales call, because desperation will kill your sell. You just don't care. So just be indifferent about it. If I sell it, I sell it. If I don't, who cares? You need to be a marketer. You got to know that, if this guy doesn't bite, so what? You can't get another guy on the phone. You're not a very good marketer. That's, and you got to have that mindset. And yeah, maybe at first it'll be a struggle, but once you get into the swing of it, you'll find out that you're right, that you really don't need to make every sell, so why worry about any one of them? You will sell. Show them undeniable proof. Don't take my word for it. Look at the leads. Listen to the calls. This is what you could be having, as early as 5 minutes from now, if we make a deal. Because it just takes you flipping that number over. That's all it takes, because you already got the leads going. And just retreat. Act like, well, you want to buy or you don't. Because we pursue what retreats. That's just human nature. If you start following them, they own you. If you make them follow you, you own them, and you will make the sell. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of touch on that. But that's just what works for me. I mean, I go into it like, I have exactly what they need, and they'll be lucky to get it. Because I do know what I'm selling them is valuable to their business. Now, what they do with it, that's up to them, But if you have no leads coming in as a plumber, you're not going to make it as a plumber or a roofer or air conditioning repair or anything else you do out there. You need to have new business, because that's going to make up about 80% of your yearly income. You probably have about 20% reoccurring, and I mean reoccurring customers. I think that's the last slide, isn't it, Jack?
I think so. I think that was your statement, correct?
Right. Just be desireless, be excellent, and be gone. That's my mantra. I just go in there, don't care if they buy it. Show them that, this is exactly what you need. Give them undeniable proof of it, and be gone. If they don't want it, so what? I'm calling their competitor, and I let them know that. Because most people will buy just so the other guy can't have it, truthfully. I mean, that's base, horrible human nature, I know, but it is the truth.
Okay. So, if you are interested in getting the phone ring for a client, either you do it using for prospecting, you set them to an overfold, and maybe you can put the URL in it, Stephen. So I still got a question about that CPA network, and I cannot.
Oh yeah, it's just offer Vault.
Yeah, can you put it in the message, because I cannot search on the right now. Or the third option is, of course, that you have a client and you want to scale this business, because to make a good living you need 10 cities, and to post in 10 cities is quite a bit, is a full-time job. It's more than that, and you need some specialism in it, and there's no need to do it all by yourself. So that is for the last month. I signed up 10, and each month I'm letting in 10 more. So if you are interested to have a successful business, getting the phone ring, getting clients, getting paid, you can check this out. Stephen, if you want, did you find the link of the service?
Yeah, I put it in the thing.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. You did?
Yeah, it says organizers and panelists only, though.
Okay.
That's all I can kind of send it to.
Okay. Yeah, I got the link. Let's see.
Okay.
I got the link. Let me see if I can copy it. Okay, I copied.
Right, and then on that page, guys, there's just a tab that says pay per call, and you just click it, and then you can see exactly what they're paying per lead. Of course, read exactly once you start investigating any particular call platform, exactly what the limitations on anything is before you run it, because sometimes they'll put limitations on it, and you don't really want to think that it's nationwide, and then they're like, nationwide except for these cities, and it's one of the cities you're trying to run. And but it's a really good way to build up call volume, and I mean, maybe you're not going to make a mint using these because, as I said, they don't convert real well. A guy answering the phone converts the best, like a plumber, and a lot of them have these automated systems like Push One. Well, but I still do it, and I still make money. I mean, and even if I break even, I'm happy about it before I get a client. But after a couple weeks of call volume builds up, I just go get somebody to buy them. I know that I can get leads out of that city in that niche. I'm on board. I'm getting a guy. I'm monetizing it for real then. But as I said before that, you might as well make a few bucks, and then the calls don't go into either. Or what you also can do is, give it a couple days, you build up, see what the call volume is going to be. And I have done this trick before. I mean, I just call somebody at random, like I prospect somebody, and I say, hey, look, I'm testing the city on Craigslist, and I just need a place to send the leads. I'm not asking to buy anything here. I just want to send you phone calls for free, and until this test is done. And probably 50% of the time they end up buying the leads from me.
Correct. So I still got questions about overfall. So assume you are able to generate the calls, but you don't have a paying client yet. There are more or less two good options. One is you're going to send them to sign up for the Overvolt, and you get about paid $8 per call. So that's option number one. The option number two, which I like more, is to send them to businesses who are spending money online. Either they do Google AdWords advertising, or they are listed on Home Advisor. So those are already willing to pay for a lead. They have the service in place. They are looking for more clients. Once you can set up in Lead Tracker Jack easily an email with that call, which has a link or an offer in it that they can check it out. After a couple of calls, you're going to call them and say if they would like to receive more calls or that you send them to competitors. And you just set them up like a round robin thing. So you prospect a couple of businesses in the same city where your Craigslist ads is running. So that makes it much easier to find a new client. The other way is if you send them to Overvolt, you get paid, and you can tell to new business, I'm able to generate leads. Would you like to get them? And your goal is to, we said, you want to make $1,000 a day. The goal is to generate 5 calls in a certain city, either by having some luck with the niche or by several niches in one city, so you still make that 5 up, and that is very achievable.
It's much easier to focus in on a single niche in a single city, and then once you get that niche down, you know how to talk to people that you're trying to sell to, and more importantly, you know what ads work, which ones don't, then move to another city and just repeat the process. I mean, that's really the big secret to lead gen, is just kind of stick to your guns. Don't try just anything that comes your way, because you'll get mired down. Like, maybe some guy's easy to sell to because he does appliance repair, but you're really probably not going to make that much money off that guy.
So, Jack, did you say that Lead Tracker Jack Cole can send an email with an offer for lead generation? Yes. So let assume you are able to generate calls. You send them to business. Either you call up that business and say, hey guys, I want to send you an email with some information. To which email should I send it to? So it's very easy to get the email address, or you just look or scrape the website. There are methods for it. Lead Finder Jack is very good to scrape the email from a particular website, but you also can look it by yourself. So now you have the email, you generate calls. Now with the email, you can attach a template to it, and in that template you speak about yourself, about your service, and the best way is to have a link to a website which speak about your service. After a couple of calls, you're going to call that business and ask them if they like to continue to receive those leads. It's almost a done deal if you do it on this way. Okay, any questions I missed? What are you using for qualifying the call as a lead? Minutes, or do you listen to make sure it is a real lead? There's that's a good question.
Sorry, go ahead, Jack.
That's a good question, Stephen.
Oh yeah, I listen to the calls because I don't want to sell them junk, because you're not going to get $25 a call for junk. I mean, you might be able to get $5 to $10 and they buy everything that comes their way, but there's people who scrape phone numbers, and your tracking numbers are going to get on in people's hands, and they're going to call these people. These people are bombarded every day by people trying to sell them stuff. So what infuriates them the most is when you're trying to sell them leads that really wasn't about it, like whatever their service was. So here's what I do. I listen to the calls, and I always make this agreement. I tell them they don't have to pay anything that they don't think is fair. That it's an easy sell point. But of course, they try to take advantage of it, and I just get another guy. I mean, but you will get people who are decent and need the leads and will work with you, and it's a good fit. So that's what I do. I know there's some people out there that claim that they do it by the minute or whatever, but even really quality leads, sometimes people are like, well, maybe this one is not so good or whatever. And I explain to them exactly what a lead is before we even do business. And that's just somebody calling them about their service. If they can't convert them into anything else, it's not my problem. I'm a lead provider. I get that phone to ring. That's all I'm there to do with people who are interested in their service. Not necessarily their service, they're just in need of it. If that clears it up or not. I mean, and people that are smart about business understand an ROI. They know they're not going to close every call. They know they're not going to get an estimate out of every call. But if they can land 1 out of 4 into a job, then they're paying $100 a job. Their jobs average between $600 and $1,200 maybe as a plumber. They're willing to pay that $100, no problem.
Let's see if I understand this question. Does Lead Tracker Jack have the ability to track email submissions as well as phone calls? And in what increments is the phone and call time billed? Per minute, per 6 seconds, or some? So it's per minute, so that's the easy. Does it have the ability to track email submissions? Yes. Yes. Actually, I understand now the question. Yes. So you can send a copy of the email to Lead Tracker Jack and count that as a lead. Yes, you can.
Well, like a web form submission.
Yeah. So you just send the copy of the email to Lead Tracker Jack, and you get a special email address. And I see several users heavily using this. If they are overbooked, do you charge them for the call even they are too busy to handle it? Yes, and if they are stay overbooked, you want to split them to another business, and with Round Robin you can do that.
Yeah, the bigger problem is, I mean, it's like if you would just want to talk about problems that you'll encounter with clients, is people who don't answer the phone. And I charge them for that. I mean, and on the ROI, I mean, it's not free to generate leads. I mean, Craigslist is low cost, but it's still not free. So I tell them, hey, if you do not answer your phone, and it's within whatever agreed business hours, and it comes through my line, you have to pay for that because it costs me money to generate that lead. And I don't even know if it's really a person that was going to inquire about their business, but I can't run a business like that. I don't charge anybody for like area codes that come from outside their service area. I mean, unless it's actually somebody that, and I can hear the call, etc. But if it's a missed call, obviously, and it's from wherever, that I don't count that. But if it's in the city, unless they can say, hey, this guy's a serial, caller, he calls me all the time, or what, then yeah, I won't charge him then. But other than that, I would say that's because you'd be so shocked that there's people, some people are out there and they're like, man, I could really use the business. We need to amp up business this year. Let's get this thing going. And then you send them 5 leads that day and they don't answer a single one of those calls. And you just have to know right then that they're probably just not going to work out. Because you're going to want to try to charge them for them, and they're not going to want to pay you for it. And obviously, if they didn't answer the calls that day, it's probably going to be another day that they're, there's going to be a lot of missed calls, and that you'd probably just get another guy at that point, or start working on getting another guy to buy those leads. I always like to try to get 3 guys to, even if I'm just getting 5. Then I round robin them, or whoever answers first gets the lead, feature, whatever. It depends on what I'm doing and how I actually set it up. But I always like a guy I can fall back on. You know, I don't sell them like, oh, well, you're going to get 10 leads a day. I don't estimate it. I'm like, yeah, it may only be 2 or 3 a week, but either you want them or you don't. But as I've said, you know, there's hundreds of plumbers in any given city. A guy, let's say in Aurora, Colorado, will buy Denver leads because he does business in Denver, or he will do business in Denver because he's not that far away.
What is the bottleneck in scaling this system? That is getting enough posting. That's the bottleneck.
Yeah, I would say
for
like,
in your situation.
yeah, it's getting the post out, you know, generating the leads, which, you know, can be difficult at times. I mean, and it depends. I mean, selling, you know, if you can sell, then that's not going to be a bottleneck for you. If you can't sell, you know, it might be your, you know, part of your bottleneck. But as I said, you can pay people like Jack to post for you, and then that takes that entirely off the table. Then all you have to worry about is what you're going to do with the product once you get the product, which would be leads, and then just get somebody to buy them. And the real management part about it is just making sure that you're getting paid for those leads, and be willing to drop a guy if he, you know, he's giving you too much of a headache to get another guy. You got to be willing to actually get out there and close some deals.
So Brad, isn't the bottleneck finding outsourcers to post ads? I solved that for you. So it's not your bottleneck anymore. There's a specialism and how to do it, and it's also time consuming. So you want to outsource that. The thing what you want to do is to build up a relationship with your client and make sure you get paid and find new clients to post for.
Yeah, the hardest part about Craigslist is you know, it's a great way to generate leads. I mean, yeah, as I said, you know, I do generate a few leads from other sources, but not near as many as I do Craigslist. But I'm convinced you could run an entire business just using Craigslist. You can even prospect to get lead gen clients through Craigslist because I've done it. I've gotten people call me and say, hey, I want to buy some leads because I've ran good Craigslist ads. You know, I'm like, these are people, you know, I'm service in this area. I know I can get leads for them, you know, and I just run ads, you know. It's like, forget SEO, you know, and I pitch them on that, you know, if you're going to spend $1,000 a month, you might as well get, you know, 50 phone calls for that, and you're not going to get that with SEO. Well, you would if you were in a pretty decent city and you could actually get to the top 3. But it's a guarantee for them. If they spend $1,000, they know they're going to get the 50 phone calls. If they spend $1,000 with an SEO specialist or, you know, social media guy or whatever, it's a crapshoot for them. They don't really know that that's going to happen for them. But yeah, anyway, I'll get back on the train of thought I was on. Craigslist changes all the time. You know, don't try to wear every hat in your business, because that's what I did in the beginning, and it slowed me down. I mean, I was making like $1,200 a month, and that's, you know, it's the potential of that. But you know, I was posting, I was, you know, getting clients, I was managing these clients, was taking me all day, and then I had no time to work on my business. I was just managing my business, and I was stopped. I couldn't go any further until I laid down some part of it, whatever part of it. I couldn't go forward because I just didn't have any time to do it.
Okay. So, any other questions before we close this webinar? And I get some good suggestions. So, this is the second time I'm up at 3. The link is not working. I don't know. Is the link not working, guys? Actually, I don't know. Can somebody?
Yeah, it is working for me.
Oh, I'm on the iPhone, and that is probably that you guys cannot.
The lead tracker Jack / Craigslist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you don't see
the hyperlink open for me.
Yeah, if you don't see the link in it, and then you're probably on the iPhone or on the whatever. So that's probably why you don't see the link. Thanks, you. I appreciate your comment. Okay, let me put them here for you, the link. If you don't see, if you have problems to get the order in, send a support ticket, support@jackhopman.com. Hey, I missed the .com. Support@jackhopman.com. That will take care of it. So let me put it in here. If you support@jackhopman.com. That will do it. Jack, if I buy 2, can I add more later at same price? Probably yes, but I limit it to 10 per month. So I cannot say when you can come in. Okay. Is pricing grandfathered? What does that mean, grandfathered? That it
yeah, it'll stay the same.
Yeah,
once you get in.
In principle, yes, but doesn't mean if Craigslist changed their rules, because if you post for a niche and Craigslist started to ask money for the posting, then the situation changed. At this point, where we post for is still for free, so just label what we have to pay. So
yeah, you never know what those guys are going to do. The sweeping changes in November showed you. Well, I mean, if anybody that follows Craigslist closely, they change things, and they radically change things all the time.
So in principle, I'm not intended to increase the price, but the world changed and Craigslist changed, so I cannot say forever. But I don't expect that it will change soon, and I'm not intended to change it soon. So with that said, if you guys have the link and my support ticket, that should work for you guys. If you feel you are wanted to generate leads, you want to set up several niches and dominate some cities with Craigslist posting, generate calls, making money, do the math. I'm happy to help you and to set up a real internet market business for you guys. So with that said, I really appreciate your time, and see you next week at the weekly webinar. Thank you so much.